everyone, it's Jennifer McCollum with Parent Teens, and I have today with me the lovely Kim Northup. Hello, Kim.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, thanks so much for joining. We're in different time zones, and we've been really trying to get together for quite a while now, and I'm so glad it worked out today. Kim is the founder of Mission Life Success, and Kim is a certified special education teacher who has ADHD and has 3 adult children, 2 of which have ADHD. And over the years, Kim was telling me she had coaching and tutors and just tried to help her kids, through the educational system, and realized that nothing was working. So she created Mission Life Success, and I think it's amazing. Her website is adhdinstruction.com. And what else? I'm going to let Kim take it away. Maybe tell us about all the places all over the world that you've lived and all this experience that you have being a special education teacher too. So Kim, I know that was a short bio. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into becoming an ADHD coach and special education teacher.
Sure, Jennifer. So actually my original careers, my first careers were in accounting and finance. And once I had my second child, I decided that I was spending way too much time away from my kids, and I was looking for a career change. And I taught piano all through high school and college as kind of my spending money. So the natural thing for me to do was to teach music. And so I've had a couple of music schools over the years. It was when my youngest son came along and was really struggling in school that I made the transition from music teacher to special education teacher. We knew right from the beginning that he was having, not only was it the ADHD, but dyslexia, dysgraphia, a lot of other things. And he started second grade not reading at all. And we did try many different things, tutoring and things like that. So I started as an educator, trying to find my own solutions and stuff. And there were some things that worked, some, and then other things that didn't work at all. And I've just seen this pattern with parents over and over again, looking for solutions and finding short-term fixes. But as soon as they stopped doing something, then the benefits all disappeared, and just a lot of frustration. So it was my own children that were kind of my motivation for doing this, and real happy with the program that we have now.
That's amazing. And you have a number of coaches that work for you, and you do one-on-one coaching, academic coaching, live webinars, and live events too. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, our core program is a cognitive training program, so that's a little bit different than what you see in most academic coaching programs. But we're actually working to build the underlying cognitive skills before we're teaching organizational and study skills and things like that. So they have the best chance possible for making learning efficient and making those skills stick.
That is interesting. You mentioned the cognitive skills. Can we jump right in there?
Yeah.
Can we talk about like how a student can be successful? And you have a theory on this and how you teach and how you coach. So can you share it with us?
Right. Sure. Well, I always talk about the model of learning. So all information comes in through into our brain through our senses. So we see, we hear, we smell, we taste, those 5 senses. And then the brain has to be able to do some automatic processing. So that involves focus and attention. It involves processing speed and also working memory. So we have to be able to attend to the information, or it's ignored and the brain just doesn't even, it disappears. And same thing, if we're not able to process it fast enough or hold it in our working memory long enough to do something with it, then poof, it's just kind of gone in and out, and nothing happens with it. But if it gets through that part, then in order for it to get to what I call the filing cabinet, then our knowledge bank, then there has to be some higher order processing skills. So if then we have to use our auditory processing skills and our visual processing skills. So we have to interpret what comes in through the eyes or in through the ears, and we have to use logic and reasoning. We have to plan and prioritize things, and we have to make connections between what we already know and what the new information is, and build new neural pathways. That's, we're transferring it to our long-term memory. So all that stuff has to happen for it to get into the knowledge bank, and that's where that's what the child has to access to be successful academically. So
Mhm.
if you have a breakdown in either automatic processing skills or higher level processing skills, there's not efficient learning, and learning is always going to be difficult. So no matter how differentiated the instruction is or how many times you throw the information at a child, it's still not efficient learning. I kind of use the analogy of typing a paper on a typewriter versus a computer now. And so we can just learn so much more efficiently if we've addressed all of those cognitive skills. And so that's what we do first, is we work to build those cognitive skills before we're trying to reteach any information that was difficult to learn. We want learning to be efficient, and we can actually shorten the amount of time that a child would spend in tutoring by addressing those cognitive skills first.
That's amazing. So can you give me an example of how you would go about doing that?
Mm-hmm. So we use a lot of non-academic exercises. So rather than, drilling on math facts or, or phonetics or something, first we're working on some non-academic exercises that require a great deal of focus and attention. Everything we do is intense because that's where the sweet stuff happens in the brain. We're stretching and we're growing. So we use the metronome a lot to make sure that they're staying focused and on the beat, and that requires not only whatever skill we're working on, but focus and attention too. We use the timer a lot, again, just building some intensity. So we do a variety of exercises. One might be some colored arrows discrimination. So they're just we start simple, and as soon as they master a task, we add something more intense on top of it, so that all the skills become the term is automaticity. So we want all those skills to be accessible automatically, where the child doesn't even have to think about using them. It just happens automatically, kind of like when we're driving a car. We're not thinking about all the skills involved anymore in it. We've done it enough so that it happens automatically.
So that's amazing. So I imagine you work with each student individually to figure out what they need. And
Right.
then once you figure that out and you're working on all these cognitive skills, then
Mm-hmm.
they can begin to learn more efficiently. Is that
Right.
so then?
Correct.
And then you work on the
Any gaps that there might be.
any gap.
Uh-huh.
And I like that you talk about gaps, and you talk a lot about accommodations too when you're doing your webinars. I know, and
Right.
I have a
Mm-hmm.
son who has an IEP, and there is quite a few accommodations that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started listening to your work, Kim, and how accommodations should just be a bridge, can you talk more about that?
Right, sure. So basically, my belief is that if you know that your child has a problem, or if anyone has a problem, there's basically three things that we can do. We can accommodate, so we can modify the environment, or we can make things or the workload, or we can do things to make it easier for the child to succeed, and that is definitely a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I always say success breeds success. So when children experience success, they're motivated to work harder and they keep going. So accommodations are a great thing. The second way that we can help is by compensating. So um, you would teach a child to use their strengths. They would know what their strong cognitive skills are. And, so for instance, if they have stronger auditory processing skills than visual processing, then they would, even if the teacher is not presenting information in that way, they would look for ways that they could use their auditory processing or that that vehicle of learning more than visual learning.
Mhm.
Um, and then the third way is then to just work on the actual weak cognitive skill. Well, it's my opinion that while all three of those things are important, accommodations should be more of a bridge, because when we go into the workplace, uh, we don't have as many accommodations available. You can't go to your boss and say, that's a really noisy cubicle over there and I can't concentrate, I can't get anything done, I'm going to have a private office. Probably not going to work when you're in an entry-level position, right? And likewise, if your processing speed is slow and your teachers, one of your accommodations on your IEP is that you had a 50%, you only did 50% of the homework problems, that's not going to work in the workplace either. They're eventually going to find somebody else. So it's my belief that, yes, let's use the accommodations, help the children have some short-term success, but let's help them also build those skills so that they don't need the accommodations anymore. And so that they're working on par with their peers, and they can have long-term success.
Yeah, it's a big fear of mine, really, that if there's so many accommodations put in place, is that
Mhm.
helping or not? And it's nice to just get some clarity on that from you. And I'm sure just watching a few more of your webinars and, reading your articles that you write, that will really help me and others, many others, do what's right for our kids too. So the other thing we wanted to talk about was the academic coaching model, and
Right.
how, Kim, you had spoke about how that academic coaching model may be broken. So tell us a
Right.
little bit about that.
Well, the typical model is, and academic coaching is kind of a newer thing. It's probably been around, maybe 10, 15 years. It's a lot of people still don't even know what academic coaching is. But an academic coach is someone that works with a student more on those organizational and study skills as opposed to content, teaching content. And it's a great idea. I mean, because that is what a lot of this of our students need. But I think the basic model where the student meets with the coach once a week, develops a plan, and then goes away and doesn't see the coach again for a week is broken. If that worked, the student would be doing their schoolwork and there wouldn't be any issues. They would be doing what they need to at school. Because I think all kids, some of them have put up some defense mechanisms, but everyone wants to be successful. And if they could, they would, right?
Right.
And so to me, there has to be some accountability. And so part of our program is yes, they'll meet with a coach once a week and they'll develop a plan, but then we have a coach call them every night and check in. And it's not, to beat them up or, you're in trouble if you didn't do it. It's kind of the same concept of as having an exercise buddy. You are 80% more likely to reach your goals if you have an accountability partner. And that's the purpose of that. So it's just a 2 or 3 minute check-in. This is what we said we wanted to work on. Did you do this? Yes, no. If not, what can we do to help you get it done tomorrow? Or do you want to recommit to it? Or have you decided that there's something else that's more important to work on? That kind of thing. Just holding them, and it makes such a huge difference.
I can imagine, but what a lot of commitment on your part too. Like, you're committed to connect with that child on a daily basis when you're coaching them. That's
Right.
amazing. I've never heard that before. I've never heard of anyone that really does that intense accountability for someone. And I think that parents that are um, really committed to making sure that their children are successful, that they would highly want to consider, coaching with you, because that is amazing.
And it
So
also alleviates some of the power struggles between the parent and the child, right?
that's also going on in my head, because I know homework in my house, it's not a pleasant time.
Right.
There's always that resistance. But if it's anyone else, so if it's one of my other kids helping, them, or if it's one of my sisters or someone else that is helping them, there's no resistance.
Right,
And I say, like,
exactly.
do you resist your teacher when your teacher is telling you, that this is what needs to be done? But there's just something with parents
Right.
that the kids want to fight back about it.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So,
yes, I saw it too. Right.
right. And that's amazing. So that's probably why you implemented that, because you
Right.
as a parent saw the struggle in it and
Right, right,
wanted to.
right. And I would see my own children, they would think they would love the information they got from coaches that we hired. And then it would be like the day before they go back, oh no, I didn't do it. Right. And they were mad at themselves too, because they
Right.
intended to use what they learned or but it just didn't happen.
That's right. And
Uh-huh.
like you said, they want to be successful. There's no one that
Right.
doesn't really want to be successful. So by giving them those tools and opportunities, you allow them to feel successful and continue to be motivated to
Mhm,
continue on. That's amazing.
mhm.
Amazing. I wish we had more time, Kim. I know that you are busy with your coaching, so I know you need to get going. But I want to make sure that parents know how to find you. So, Kim, you are on our Parent Teams website. So that's parentteams.club. And then your own website is adhdinstruction.com.
Correct.
And and so parents know they can reach out to Kim for one-on-one coaching, um, the academic coaching, the live webinars and events. Hopefully, you'll let us know where you're going to be live as well. That would be awesome.
Sure.
Very awesome. Is there anything you want to leave with parents? A little tidbit of something that may help them if they're kind of struggling with trying to figure out if academic coaching is for them?
Uh, I just always want parents to know to stay in the boat and keep rowing, because
Okay.
there is light at the end of the tunnel, and and my children made it, and they're quite successful, and I know yours can too, and if you're watching this kind of thing, you're doing what you need to for your children. You're learning. And just stick with it. You'll get there.
That is wonderful. I think we'll leave it there because that is just, you will get there, and just reach out and connect with Kim. So thank you so much, Kim, for joining us. And I hope you'll come back another time and maybe we can talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about, we just grazed over these topics,
Uh-huh.
but I know you have so much to share with us. So hopefully you'll come back and do that another
I
time.
would love to. Well,
Great.
thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Kim. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.